In tonight's video, I'm going to show you how to flip a classical guitar sample into a jazzy D&B tune. Hope you're all good, hope everyone's having a great week. It's been the big street party of my neighborhood recently, so every night there's just been people partying outside all night, loud music. Which is good because it means I can blast my music and no one can say anything. So let me know if you can see me, let me know if you can hear me. And also, let me know if you can see Ableton moving. There was an issue last time with the screen recording freezing. And as I was saying, it's to do with my hard disk being too full. And basically, I spent some time deleting stuff, and hopefully it'll keep moving this time. Nice one, Jason. So you may notice that Ableton's looking slightly different to the way it usually does on this channel. And that's because I finally upgraded to Live 12. So in today's video, in today's live stream, I'm going to be flipping a sample and making a new tune. And I'm also going to be checking out some of the instruments and effects that come with Live 12. I want to big up the people in the chat, E.E. Wilson, Jason Story, and Future World Machines. So we did have some thunderstorms and a decent amount of rain since last time I saw you, which has been good. It kind of brought the temperature down a little bit and also flushed out all of the sewers of the city. So it's slightly less smelly in Barcelona now. So E.E. Wilson, when you say you're here as a listener, do you mean that you're not actually trying to learn how to make D&B, or are you actually a producer? Big up anyway, big up everybody who's locked in, everybody who's in the chat, everybody who's watching this back at a later stage. Whether you're a producer or you're just like watching this for entertainment to see how this music is made, you're all appreciated and welcome here. So thanks for being here, thanks for tuning in, and special thanks to E.E. Wilson, because I know you're here on a weekly basis watching the stream. So E.E. Wilson said he likes computers. So basically what it is, yeah, I bought the kind of the baseline MacBook Pro, and it's only got 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, and it's proving to be kind of a problem because I think what happens is when it runs out of RAM, it starts to use the SSD as a swap disk, and then when there isn't enough SSD, then it just stops the screen recording. So needless to say, I need a new laptop, but in the meantime, the workaround is just to make sure that I've always got 20 gigabytes of free storage on this computer. Not ideal, but as long as it works, it's all good. So anyway, today I was listening to some music in the shower, as I usually do. And then, you know, once it's played the track you actually put on, it just randomly plays the next thing. And the thing that it played today just happened to be some kind of like, I think it's like Afro jazz or something like that. Basically, it's a group from London who play this jazzy stuff. And the beginning of the tune is, well, this sample is right from the beginning of the tune. I have pitched it a little bit, so basically just before I started streaming, I put the sample into Ableton and kind of made a loop out of it, just to speed things up so it's slightly less boring for the viewers. So this is what I've got so far. And then if you're wondering what this other part is, it sounds like this. So it's just this little variation which I'm going to chuck in. In fact, I might as well do that now. So I've got that loop there. I'll keep that blue, and then I'm going to duplicate everything. And this one's going to be a different colour. This will, in fact, you know what? It'll be light blue. Like that. And then all I have to do is grab this bit here and shove that into the loop like that. And then I'll do a little bit of crossfading. Let's have a listen like this. And you can see the bit that's been inserted because it's dark blue. It's a bit weird because there is like a rattlesnake sound before it, which kind of disappears. And what about if I just brought that all the way back like that? Anyway, when I've added all the drums and bass and everything, you're not going to notice these little fade bits. Anyway, that's just a bit of a variation. So we've got the dark blue one is the main one, and then when you want to switch it up a bit, you can put in the light blue one. Anyway, so that's what we got so far. So time to go listening to some drum samples. So I want drum one-shots. Where are they? Let's have a look. So these samples here, they're from Ghost Syndicate, and you may have seen that I've done some tutorials sponsored by Ghost Syndicate. This stream isn't sponsored, but there is a affiliate link in the description, and if you're interested in getting some drum and bass samples, whether it's drums or bass or synth samples, they're all in there. And you can actually get, the link I've put below is for this liquid bundle, which comes with 6 sample packs in it. It's already pretty cheap, but it's on sale, so pretty much time to grab it now. Anyway, I'm waffling. Here we go. Drum one-shots. Let's have a look for a kick. We'll just turn up this monitoring here. Pretty into kick 12. Alright, just for a moment I'm going to mute the guitar and I'm just going to loop this one bar here. Holding down Alt, you can just drag stuff and it copies it. So here's the kick and snare. Alright, let me keep listening to the kicks and see if there's a better one. Ah, no, it's because there's a... I accidentally left a high-pass filter on there. That's better. Alright, let's hear the kick and the snare with the guitar. Alright, before we go any further, I'm going to get some have a listen to some hat loops. So if we go to drum loops, and then there's all different loops, including full, which is like kick, snares, and everything else. You've got top, which is without the kick and snare, but everything else. And then you've got hat. And one ingenious thing that you can do is just keep playing your kick and snare and then like auditioning these loops with it. That's pretty good. These ones are pretty basic. Quite like top V1, drum 6 top V1. So let's have a listen to this. Is there just a hat version? Yeah. Yeah. And obviously you can go into the mixer and adjust these accordingly. So let me just copy and paste these kicks a few times, kicks and snares. So we've got 4 bars. And have a listen to this with the guitar. Alright, let me have a listen to some shuffles. So in the drum one shots, you've got these shuffles. Let me play the drums. I like 6, but I think I'm going to have to layer it pretty quietly. Let me turn that right down. Okay. Alright, so I'll just copy the first couple of hits of that and put it over here at the end. And then I'm just going to duplicate this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Actually, a load more times. This is what we got so far. Just going to group those drums together and call it drums. It's quiet in the chat today, but big up E.E. Wilson, big up Jason Story, and big up Future World Machines. And shout out to everyone who's watching who's not in the chat. And thanks for bearing with me while I just quickly put the drums together. So this is what the drums are sounding like with that guitar. And what I was thinking for this tune is I want an upright bass. So let me just type in upright and see what I've got here. It's a shame because the other day I did hear a tune with an amazing upright bass and I screenshotted it. But I need to go back and sample that, but I can't do it now. Okay, so let me get a simpler. Also, within the Ableton instruments, there are these ones as well. What's this? Ah, it's a synth. Alright, so anyway, let me get the simpler. I'll put that in. I'll go back to where I had that upright sample. Was it this one? Let's try this. Let me find out what key this sample is in. So guys who watch my channel on a regular basis, you will be familiar with me doing this, but basically a lot of the time what I like to do is get the tuner and check the key of a sample, and ideally put it into C, and that way it's basically if you played it on a keyboard, it would all be in tune and everything, you know. So I'm thinking something like this. Wait. It's a very simple bass line. All right. You know what, Jason? Literally I've only spent about half an hour with it so far. So right now I'm in that phase where, to be honest with you, it's more negative than positive, because I'm just like, where's this? Where's that? I need to find my way around it. But I'm sure that within a few weeks or whatever, I'll know where everything is. I'll know how to do everything, and it'll all just be pure smooth sailing. But yeah, it's great. I mean, I do like the look of it and everything. And one thing that I really like is this. Let me show you something. So I'm someone who, when I'm mixing, I like to have this mixer quite tall, right? I've always dragged it up, but look how tall you can drag it in this one. And if obviously the more things you get rid of, for example, get rid of these ins and outs, you can take it even further. You can have your mixer really tall. And the advantage of that is like being able to move things by minuscule amounts, and it's really accurate, you know. So if you wanted to turn this guitar down by the tiniest amount, then having super tall mixer faders does help with that. Yeah, as well, Future World Machine says, I like the way how you can open the mixer in this section as well. So that's pretty cool. Just have it there at the bottom, open. Yeah, it's just a learning curve, you know. So right now I'm on the steep part of the curve and I'm kind of frustrated, but soon I'll be absolutely loving it. And I've yet to go through a load of these new effects. So let me just sort of quickly talk about some of the effects that are new to me. So we've got a line delay. I've never heard of it. I don't really know how that's different from a normal delay. I guess I'll have to study it, you know. What else have we got that's new? I did see there was another type of reverb somewhere. Okay, so we've got spectral resonator, spectral time. And I want to shout out a couple of new people in the chat. We've got Nibiru and Expiravit, is it? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Expiravit. Welcome and thanks for tuning in. So for the people who've just joined us, basically what I've got here is a classical guitar sample that sounds like this. So I've mixed that with some drums. Now I'm trying to kind of put together a bass line, and this is what I've got so far. So what I was thinking is I could beef it up with an 808 so they're layered together. Worth a try. So I'll go into instruments, get the simpler, bring that in, and then I'll go to where I've got my 808. And with a bit of luck, you know what I was saying before about tuning the sample? Here's the advantage, right? If I want to layer my 808 with it, all I do is hold down Alt and drag the MIDI clip down, and that hopefully should be playing the same notes. So for the people with kind of small speakers or headphones, you probably couldn't really hear much of that. But that is just like a super weighty sub bass that could sit underneath the upright bass. Let's check this on the spectrum analyzer. Ah, big up. So Expiravit, I didn't recognize you at first, but he's saying he's the one who made the Baby D Let Me Be Your Fantasy remix. So instead of just boom, boom, maybe it should be boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and then maybe the second one should be shorter, so it's like cuts off, so it's like boom, but boom. That's it. I might as well just copy those 2 notes and put them here as well. And then I'll just bring this MIDI clip back down to the 808 again. And that's going to copy it so it does the same on both. And then I thought it could go, at some point it could go dum dum up to the octave. Where would it be? Dum dum. Might sound a bit weird because it's a sample being pitched up like that, but let's have a listen. Okay, I need the drums to kind of hear where I am. Okay, so it needs to be there. Or should that come earlier? Dum dum. Wait. Dum dum. Big up Clive in the chat. Hope you're well, mate. So for the people that have just joined us, this project is called Flippin' Eck because I'm flipping the sample. And basically I've started off with this classical guitar. It sounds like this. So before we go any further, I'm just going to set up a reverb on a send. And by default on send A, you've got this normal reverb. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that and put the hybrid reverb there instead. So get the hybrid reverb, drop that onto return track A. And whenever you put something on a return track, make sure you put your dry and wet up to 100%. Why? Because you've already got the dry signal from the track itself, right? From these channels here. And then you send stuff to this wet signal. So you end up with a blend, but you need to make sure that the one that's on the send is set to 100% wet for that reason. And I'm going to bring down the decay time to like just under 2 seconds. And I'm going to change this to a different type. I'm going to put it on a hall. Actually, no, before I was working on something else and I was using bigger spaces. So, grand stage. Now once you've got your reverb set up, you just turn up your send A. And also don't forget there's this EQ tab here where you can take out all the low end. and adding in the 808. And with the drums, I'm going to hit save there. And time to start adding some other stuff. This is where I should have plugged in my keyboard before, because I want to play some Rhodes to it. Thank you, Clive. You know, most of the props go to this band. I'm not going to say their name. I'm really kind of trying to stay discreet. That's why I renamed the sample Flippin' Eck. But yeah, great music, you know. And this is the thing that, like, now that the music industry is about to get taken over by AI, it's more important than ever to be able to learn how to play live music, you know. Because I really feel like the scene's going to get separated into, whenever you're online, it's just like you don't know, you can't trust whether anything's real anymore or if it's all AI. But then when you go and see a live group and somebody's playing the guitar for real in front of you, it's a totally different experience. So my friend showed me Suno, and it's this AI service that you can just generate a tune. And as soon as he showed it me, we had a jam that night and I was playing bass, and I was like, this is more important than ever to be able to, you know, get together, play real instruments, and just you sort of, you know, it's humans, you know. Anyway, let me know in the chat how you feel about the AI music scene. Do you care? If you were listening to lo-fi radio and it turns out that some of the tunes were just made by AI, would you care? Or does it just not matter? Alright, anyway, let me go into plugins, and I'm going to have a play with the, what's it called? Contact 7. This is the thing that I like about the latest Ableton. Before it was, you had to go into AU or VST1 or VST3 and all these different folders, right? Now you've just got your plugins folder. It's organized by the different companies. And when I go to Native Instruments, and then there's Contact there, Contact 7, and you've got the AU and the VST3, and you just choose which one you want to use. But it's probably better than having separate folders to keep going into, you know, so that was a little improvement. Scarby Mark 1, my favourite Rhodes. It looks like this. Sounds like this. Yeah, you know what? E.E. Wilson saying AI Muzak is now a nice option. I like it. So, to me, there's a couple of different ways of listening to music, right? One of them is, you could call it like passive, as in you don't care who the artist is, you don't care who played it, you don't really care if you ever hear that tune again. It's just background, you know. It's like if you're working from home and you're just sending some emails, you might have some background music on. And then the other way is more actively listening. So you're getting well into it. You're looking at the sleeve. You're thinking about the track list. You're like excited about this band, and you're becoming a fan, basically. You know, so there's different ways of listening to music. And I think for the more passive way, it's not as bad if you're listening to some generated music. But needless to say, no one's ever going to become a fan of the robot. So that's where you draw the line, you know what I mean? So I want to do a... I'm playing the computer keyboard, by the way, so if my playing's terrible, I can blame it on that. It's alright, but it just doesn't have velocity sensitivity, you know what I mean? That was actually, not gonna lie, considering I'm playing a computer keyboard, that wasn't too bad. Just needed to tighten up that first one. In fact, a lot of them need tightening up. So let me show you velocities, and this is like a little kind of guide to velocities, right? Whenever you play a chord on a real piano, you're never going to play it with all the 3 notes at the same velocity like that. Now, some of us don't have a MIDI keyboard. Other people, like me, have a MIDI keyboard, but essentially never set it up because of desk space. So I end up just playing my computer keyboard. Well, what you can do is you can kind of cheat by just putting these all to random velocities like that. Put some of them up, put some of them down, and you're kind of mimicking what would really happen. So for the people that don't know, what are velocities? Well, imagine if you were playing a real piano and you can either hit the keys super hard and make a more harder sound, or you might play really gently and make a really soft sound. Well, when it comes to electronic music, the hardness and softness that you hit the keys, you know, is expressed as a value between 1 and 127. So for example, if I drag this all the way to the top, that's like hitting the Rhodes piano super hard. And if I conversely, if I drag it down here, that's like you're playing it super soft, you know? Now all of mine are in roughly the same ballpark, but I've just kind of spread them out a bit just so that there's a bit of variation. And then once you're done, you can drag them around like this, maybe make it slightly softer. So Future World Machines says use randomize on the velocities. Shall I press humanize? So what you can do is, if you want to make it a bit softer and more chill, but then you can turn it up afterwards. All right, so there's a bit of a conversation going on about AI, so I'm going to read it. It says, so Expiravit says, I have Suno but find it hard to work. You can put commands like verse. It'll be another line but matching it to the BPM. Clive says, I think it's good for starting your ideas if you get stuck. You know, when I started this channel, I think probably the second or third video I did, it was using AI to make liquid drum and bass. What I did is I used the song starter on BandLab, and it created like some roads and a pad, and then I just put them into Ableton and made a beat with it. And honestly, I thought it was going to get loads of clicks because it was right when ChatGPT was popping off and everyone kept talking about AI. And the video absolutely flopped. So I've never done another AI based video on this channel. I don't think that video even has 1,000 views now, and it's over a year old. So yeah, you live and learn. No one cares. So remember before I was saying you can put your reverb on the send. The amazing thing is once it's all set up, you can just crank up these sends and instantly add reverb to any of your instruments. So this 808 Super Dope is pretty deep, but let me just check how deep. Alright, so the first part's fine, but then it does go down to a note that's 31 Hertz, which only the dolphins are going to be able to hear. Perhaps I'll put some saturation on it. So the saturator's looking pretty different from the one. Shout out Suklal Music in the chat. So for those who've just joined us, basically I've upgraded my live now to live 12.2. So it's looking slightly different. Some of it's confusing me. And the saturator is looking pretty different, but obviously it works the same. You just crank down the output, crank up the drive. There are more options here though. Bass shaper, for example. Let me know in the chat if you think it sounds good to have the upright bass layered with an 808. So here's the 808 by itself. So here's the 808 with saturation. Here's the upright layered over the top. Makes quite a thick sound. Alright, let me type in pad and just see what comes up. Sometimes I like to go through the Ableton Live instruments and find a pad. Other times I like to go into my samples and find one there. That actually sounded sick. Maybe I should do da, da. And do I dare take it down to the sea? Right, so I'm going to have to do a bit of EQing on this because it's got too much low end. In fact, the whole thing is low end, so... let me see what it'd sound like if I pitched it up. Right, so... for the people who aren't that musically inclined in terms of like music theory and knowing a crotchet from a quaver and all the rest of it, basically the way semitones works is there's 12 of them in an octave, right? So if I've already pitched it up by 2 and now I need to do another 12, basically I have to take it up to plus 14 for it to be in the right key and in the right octave. So it might sound a bit ridiculous, but actually, no, it sounds fine. All right, now this bit. Yeah, 14 again. And then, basically, it's whatever it says, plus 12. So this is the one I'm on about. So what's minus 5 plus 12? That is 7, right? Sometimes there's a little bit of maths involved. So I should really... did I already send that to the reverb? Send it even more. Maybe I'll put even another reverb, because this particular sound needs to be very reverby. So I'm going to put it on Hall, long synth Hall. This is everything together. Alright, I'm just gonna turn down the drums a little bit. Right, so the saturation that's on the 808, I'm just turning down the dry wet so it's just a little bit. Because at the end of the day, what is saturation? You're adding harmonics, right? You're adding upper layers to the sound. Well, I've already got an upper layer, this upright bass. Shout out Lowinson asking me, have you ever tried putting your beat through some outboard gear? Not personally. I have sent it off for mastering before, and I'm pretty sure they do a bit of that, but I don't really have any outboard gear here. One thing I do like to do is add some tape saturation, which gives you a similar effect. So the people who are regulars here will know what I'm about to do. It's the To-Tape 8 from a company called Air Windows, and it's a free plugin, but it's really high quality and really accurate tape saturation. So I usually get rid of the flutter and the head bump, turn down this output first, and then see if I can crank it to the max. I'm not sure. I've never heard of a DBX 118, to be honest. Mainly just in the box here, but like I say, if I ever get something released on a proper label, then it will be mastered by a mastering engineer with a load of hardware gear. In the meantime, it's just me and my computer. But there is one other thing that I like to put my drums through, and it's called drum bus. How about you, Lowinson? Have you got a DBX 118 to put your tunes through? Future World Machines is asking me, why don't you use To-Tape 7? Well, I'll tell you why. So there's a YouTube channel called White Sea Audio, or White Sea Mastering, or White Sea something. Anyway, he's a massive YouTuber with probably, I would guess, 300 to 500,000 subscribers. And he does these plugin reviews. And he's always like, the theme is snake oil. Is it snake oil, you know? As in, are they selling you a dream and it's not really doing anything to your audio? So he did a review of To-Tape 7. And basically what he said about it was, it's an amazing plugin. It gives you a great warm tape sound. And the only complaint that he had about it was that it didn't have an output gain. So if you look at this one here, you've got input gain and you've got all these controls, and then you've got this output, right? So To-Tape 7 didn't have that output. So what you'd have to do is probably put a utility after it and turn everything down again. So the guy who made it responded to that. And I saw his comment on YouTube in the comments section. It was like, thanks for the feedback. I'm going to release To-Tape 8 that's actually got an output control. And now you've added it, and all you have to do is crank up the input, crank down the output, and now you've got tape saturation. So Lowinson is a hardware believer, and he's saying now he's got all of these boxes to run all his stuff through. You know, on this channel I teach Ableton Live and you know, how to use it, how to produce with it and stuff. And for most of the stuff I do on here, I like to use the stock tools and effects from Ableton. Part of the reason is because I've already got them and I don't need to spend any extra money. But also I do like to use them because all of you guys have got them too. So if you see something that you like, a little technique that I teach you, you can literally just go into your own Ableton and try it out for yourself. And no, it's each to their own, you know. I'm sure that hardware you can get a great sound, but we do have to remember that there are some big drawbacks as well, like having to run cables everywhere, having to make sure they all stay in time with the MIDI clock, and sometimes you're kind of inconveniencing yourself. So just while I'm waffling, I'm putting these into groups. So I've got the bass group, it's got 808 Super Dope and Upright. And then in the instruments group, we've got Flippin' Eck, which is the guitar. We've got this Rhodes. And this pad here. Shout out Lowinson. Enjoy the wine, mate. That's what it's all about on a Sunday night, just chill. So I've been an Ableton user. Oh yeah, I've got some exciting news. So I've been an Ableton user since 2008, right? And last week I had the pleasure of going to Ableton Live's office, or Ableton's office, here in Barcelona. And I met a lovely lady there. And she, basically, they're loaning me the Push 3, the standalone Push 3. So I've got it on loan for about a month, and I'm going to be making some videos for the channel. And it was just really cool to be there to meet them and to, you know, see their office and start the conversation with Ableton themselves. And they weren't the ones that gave me the upgrade to Live 12, by the way. I actually bought that with my own money. But the Push 3 standalone, that's another thing that so it's been a lot of learning this week, because I've been learning how to, like, the differences of Live 12. I've been learning how to use the Push 3, and I've also got a launch pad. And let me just change the camera angle. Look. So this is another thing that's going to be featuring on the channel very soon. This is called the Launchpad Pro, and it's a grid controller. You can do, you can control the session view with all these buttons, but it can also be used to play the pads for drums, for instruments. It can do all sorts. And also, you might be interested in this, Lowinson, because this doesn't even need a computer. It's got a built-in step sequencer, and you can control all your synth, like your hardware synths and drum machines and stuff from this thing. So that's pretty cool. So basically, I've got like a backlog of content. I've got 2 tutorials that are already filmed and edited that are gonna, like, the first one's coming out halfway through next week. The next one will be a week after that, and then that's when all of these controllers and the Push 3 content and everything, it's all going to be released throughout August. So if anyone's kind of wondering where the videos are on my channel, why I've not been uploading any, don't worry, the next one's probably coming out on Wednesday, I think. And yeah, the lady from Ableton said that when I give back the Push 3, I can borrow the Move as well. So Clive, if you're interested in the Move, there will definitely be some Ableton Move content on this channel sooner or later, but that'll probably be, to be honest with you, September onwards, so it's going to be a little while. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's going, to sort of start the conversation with Ableton themselves. You know, I've been chatting on email with them for a little while, and now I've been to their office and they gave me some merch and stuff. I got some bags and some stickers and lanyards and all this lot. Really cool. Yeah, I've always, like, since I saw the Move, I was pretty interested in it because it's small enough to take around with you, and it's battery powered. So I don't know about you, but because obviously I'm from England, but I live in Spain, so I'm kind of back and forth on planes a lot. And I've always found that making a tune is a great way to pass the time on a plane. So I think having the Ableton Move would be great for flying, to be honest. You just sit there and make a beat, and before you know it, you're landing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to plug in this launch pad now. And I've never used it in that sort of instrument mode, but I'm going to try and play something on the pads. Have a little jam. So yeah, the video I started filming the first video with this yesterday, and some of you have seen that video I did about the first ever Ableton Live 1.0, and in that video towards the end I sort of put together a live set in this way that you use your stems of your tunes, right? So my latest video about the launch pad, which is probably coming out like first or second week of August, it's about that technique where you perform using your stems. So you split your tunes into drums, bass, instruments, maybe two instruments like the pads and the synth leads, you know? So each track is separated into 4 stems, and then you play with those stems and you basically do a kind of somewhere between a live set and a DJ set. It's a lot of fun. And if you're the type of person that's got loads of tunes, you know, it's really cool to put them all into a set and play them and sort of jam with them and mix and match the different bits. Right, so I've got the Gentleman here. I've got the launch pad plugged in. Or have I? I need to plug it into the USB. Alright, give me a second. Okay. That's the launch pad lighting up. Now press note mode. It's working. So what I need to do here is, in Live, you've got, in the latest version of Live, you can kind of choose your key here. So I'm going to put this on F minor. Wait a sec. I'm going to put that on F minor there. So yeah, I was thinking about setting up an overhead camera. I will for next week actually. I'll have the overhead camera looking down at what I'm doing here. But yeah, got the launch pad. It's all lit up different colours. And I'm going to try and figure out some melody or something. So, in case you haven't noticed, I'm not actually very good at playing the piano, especially not on these pads. I don't know what I'm doing, but... just need to figure out what notes sound good and then play them. idea is it does that first, and then there's a big gap, you know? How about... Might be a bit cheesy, but I'll give it a go. Wait. Let me undo that. So I'm going to do. Right, I'm recording. That isn't what I was supposed to do for the second bit. It's supposed to be... Okay. Right. I'll join all that together and maybe do a little bit of fixing. Alright, bring that beat back. I've always wanted to say that. Alright, so the first bit is kinda, to be honest with you, this piano piano melody should be only when flipping it goes away. So the last note of that first bit is a little bit late. Where is it? Alright, so how about one of those delays that's like really long? Like, is it an 8th or a 16th? Let me just type in lead and have a listen to some leads, and I really hope I find one quickly. Never heard of that one. I've heard of PFM, but I've never heard of his remix of Pussycat, to be honest, but I'll check it out later. PFM the Western. One time I had a video of a DJ set that I did, and YouTube literally wouldn't allow that video to be uploaded because of PFM the Western. He's got such strict copyright rules on that tune that you literally can't have it on YouTube. So what I had to do was chop out part of the video, and then it allowed me to upload the video. So whatever lead I choose, it needs to be quieter. So I'll just bring this down. You know what I mean? Getting in the zone, Clive. All right. I know. It's the thing about streaming, you got to try and keep it entertaining, you know what I mean? And it's like, do you really want to listen to me doing that all day? Almost certainly not. So, oh yeah, I forgot about this contact. Oh, that was the piano, yeah. All right, you know what? It's time to do a bit of tidying up. Flipping heck, I'm going to actually rename that as classical guitar. And now this launch pad's here. I'm going to swap these over actually. I'm going to put my keyboard where it's supposed to be. Oops, sorry. Put that over here. This is the thing, you know. In the future, I'm going to have a place with a much bigger desk. I'm going to call this Rhodes, pad, piano, and this is just like lead, Lado, lead. Going to delete the piano actually, I don't like it. Alright, let me go looking for some more sounds. I'll type in lead. Oh yeah, lead's already typed in. Yeah. Clive, you're right. Sometimes less is more. Been learning that lesson. So yeah, I guess you mean because I deleted the piano. It wasn't fitting in. But to be honest with you, neither is this whistling lead synth. I need something in between. Synth one-shots. We are working in F right now, so I'll try the F ones first of all. Alright, so these aren't the right kind of sounds. Just want like a really simple synth one shot. If you like any of these samples that you're hearing, by the way, click the link down below in the description to buy them, and that's an affiliate link, and you would be helping the channel if you buy the samples through my link. Easy, Danny. Hope you're alright, mate. Clive said, funny how a few pretty notes can have so much impact. You're right. And actually what I want is like a little blip kind of one that just goes blink, and then you play it on all play it on the pads at all different pitches. Kind of like that, but not really. Alright, I'm sick of this now. I'll just click 3 more random ones, and then hopefully one of them will be good. So first one. Nope. Nope. Alright, last one. No, it wasn't working. Sad. Let me keep going through some of these ones in the sample pack instead. Tonal. Know what I mean? It can be frustrating when you know exactly what sound you want, but you can't find it. I kind of just like not the dinner, but the last wah, 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 wah. Wait. Let me turn off warping. So we've got, it sounds like this. So I'm going to get rid of blur now and just start it there. Next, I'll just crank it down a bit. And let's have a listen. And I want it to come in when it goes dum dum wow. You know what I mean? So it's there. Actually, no, it's like a call and response. Wait. So, Clive, I was listening for a specific, like, I was listening for not only the sort of wave shape, as in, you know, a chilled sine wave kind of sound, but it also, I wanted it to be a certain length, as in quite a short one. And it's like, if you put a short sound onto the pads, or, you know, on your MIDI keyboard and then play it, it just makes this like little plucker. But anyway, I've got this as the call and response. So it starts off with down, dip, down, and then there's this big gap that goes on for ages, and that's where I decided to fill it with synth lead 2. So it goes like this. And then if I wanted to, I could put it on this way. Could put it here and pitch it down by 5, and that could work. So let's try that again. Wait. I was supposed to copy it. All right, try this. You know what? I forgot to warp it, but it actually was pleasantly surprising. Now let's try it warped though. Let me delete that. I'm going to warp this. Bring it over here. Pitch it down. Did you like it when it wasn't warped, Clive? Is it a happy accident or is it a sad accident? The question is, how does it work with classical guitar? Needs warp, says Clive. I'd be inclined to agree. And don't forget, I've got my reverb on Sunday, so all I need to do is crank up Sunday to give it some reverb. I think it fit well whether it's warped or not, to be honest. It's just the way how it cuts off because it's looping, but don't worry, because when I've put it in a tune, when I do the arrangement, it's not going to cut off like that because it won't be looping like that. Maybe I'll pan it to one side. For example, the left side like that. Which country are you based in, Lowinson? By the way, and have you got all of those? Have you got the S950? And not that I'm trying to spark some kind of debate, but what do you think about the Amigo sampler? Do you think it sounds authentically old school, or do you think it's not up to scratch? Oh, so you've actually got an Amiga. Nice. Oh yeah, Echoes of Light sample pack. I seem to remember this soft sine being pretty good once I put it into the simpler. Wait. Oops. Dickhead. And then I can try a lower. Actually, what was I saying? I was going to say about the lower velocity, but it's a sample. It doesn't change when you play it softer. It just gets slightly quieter. Anyway, let's try it with loads of reverb. Alright, so starting to think about the arrangement, right? So I'm going to press save here, actually. So, we've got drums, we've got bass, we've got various different instruments, and this FM short, I think I'll get rid of it, okay? So what we've got is 15 tracks now. And I'm just going to cut everything and paste it on bar 33. And let's just see what this is here. Oh yeah, that was a slightly different variation. And that's part of the pad there. What's this actually? Oh yeah, that's the end of that thing. Okay, right. So I'll just drag that sideways like that. Okay, cool. Alright, so Lowinson is saying boost that kick now with another. Needs sub kick. Let me have a listen to the kick. So you can see that the kick, it basically it's got quite a lot, around 58 hertz, right? And then if we also add in the 808, so Lowinson, what what frequency would you be talking about adding there? Because I don't think I really need to go much lower than 58 hertz, to be honest with you. I think that's plenty low enough, especially when you've got the sub bass in the equation. Otherwise, it's all going to get quite messy down there. Right, so let's try pad first of all. Or maybe, do you know what I might do? Just bring this over here. I might try it without the little bit that goes to G and just have it F and C like this. Let's have a listen to the classical. Maybe I'll chop this up for the intro. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the classical guitar channel, and I'm going to delete that there and delete all this here. So now we've got it separated. So this is another classical guitar channel, and I'm just going to bring this, so it's just literally one chord that goes like this. And then I'm going to put some delay on it. Now I need a C. And I'm going to turn off warping. Alright, so I'm going to go into automation mode and just quickly crank up this fade to grey at the end here. That's when we get the infamous classical guitar coming in. Where are we? Alright, so what we've got so far is drums and some sparse instruments during the first 16. So you hear how it goes, dum da boom, and then that's the chord there. So the chord comes there, right? So maybe in the intro, to set your expectations, this should actually be later, like this. Sounds weird though. Alright, forget that. Yes, people, so I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. If you are, make sure you click the like button so that more people will see this. Also, consider joining Grace Nation. So Grace Nation is this channel's membership, and it really supports the channel and helps me continue to make content like this. So there's a join button below the video. If you don't want to support financially or anything like that, then the best way to support the channel is just press subscribe and like. And also, if you've got any mates that are learning to produce using Ableton Live, share my channel with them. Thanks very much. So I'm going to stick around for 15 minutes more. Got to automate this to come on and off. So the way you do that is go into automation mode, click this on off button on the delay, and then get your little pencil tool and go like that. I'll check out PFM's tune later. I've always thought, you know, if I'm making a tune, there's always a chance that you're sort of ripping off, like even if it's subconsciously, you know, that you're basically using the exact same chord structure as someone else's tune, and then everyone might be like, oh yeah, you're just copying that guy. It's like, I mean, I'm sure I must have heard that tune at some point throughout the last 30 years or whatever. Right, wait. I just time stretch that first bit. Like that. One way of doing it. So I'll just duplicate that again. So we've got 16 bars of this. And then at bar 17, gets pure classical. Alright, because I automated that fade to grey thing, that needs to go back down again for the drop. Alright. What is soft sine C? Oh yeah, that's that thing. Alright, so I'll put that later as well. So this little area over here is just where I'm sort of storing things that are going to come later in the tune. They're in storage. Alright. I think the upright sounds pretty good, to be honest. So obviously I'm going to have to create a bit of a build-up and then a proper drop and everything. But this is the basis of the tune. So you start off with drums with a little teaser of the classical guitar. Big up E.E. Wilson. See you next week, mate. And we've got the pad. So we've got drums, pad, and a little teaser of the guitar. 16 bars in, we get the full-on classical guitar. It all breaks down. There might be a little jazz drummer with his little brushes on the ride cymbal or whatever. And then bar 33, we're dropping into hard drums and the upright bass, which has been reinforced with 808. So if we look at it on the spectrum analyzer, you'll see that there is a strong presence of sub bass down here. In fact, the lowest note is 31 Hertz, which almost everybody's speakers isn't going to be, or I should say almost nobody's speakers will be able to reproduce. But the main notes here, it goes G, G, F, and that F will definitely be heard by most people. 44 Hertz, you know, so that most people's headphones and speakers can reproduce 44, and it's sounding weighty as hell. And I like how that bram, 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 bram is sounding when there's almost nothing else with it, you know. It's very sparse, fits in well. But then, obviously, 16 bars later, we're going to have other things coming back, like the pad and everything. So, does anyone have any questions about anything I've done today? Any comments? Do you want to know where I got any of these sounds from? Let me know how you feel about today's stream. As I was saying, the release content for the next few weeks, we've got a liquid one, which is like an atmospheric liquid drum and bass tutorial. Then we got the UK garage one. It's been you know, I filmed it like a few weeks ago and it's been ready for release for a little while, but the week after next, that one will come out. And then it's the Ableton Live set using a grid controller like the Launchpad. That one's going to be sick. And then after that, probably the standalone Push 3 content will start. And that's like midway through or like early August. So yeah, basically the next 4 videos are already scheduled. And it's going to be really hot. So yeah, that's something I should probably mention. There is going to be a little holiday period where for a couple of weeks, unfortunately, I won't be here streaming. Because I'm going to be in the UK. I'm going to see my family in the northwest of England. I will be taking my laptop with me. And I'll continue to upload videos and stuff. But unfortunately, I won't have the full-on streaming setup. So we're going to have to take a few weeks off. But I'll let you know about all of that in the community tab on YouTube. So it's the basis of a good tune. And I would stay longer and finish the tune, but as I've mentioned on previous streams, I'm basically, I turn off the AC unit while I do these streams. So the room was about 21 degrees when I started the stream, and now it's 28, and it's getting pretty hot in here, starting to feel pretty sweaty. And at 10 o'clock, I'm gonna get off this stream and turn the AC back on. And anyone who wants, by the way, guys, as I said before, if you want to get some nice samples to make liquid drum and bass and you want to support this channel, check out the liquid drum and bass bundle from Ghost Syndicate. You can follow the link in the description, and it's a affiliate link, which means you won't pay any more than you usually would pay, but there is a 30% commission for this channel, which really helps me out. So yeah, if you want to support the channel, grab the samples. It's 6 sample packs for, I think, you know, the UK price is £30. So 6 packs for £30 is a pretty decent deal. Let me just have a look at something. Clive, mate, that tune, A Pint of Your Best, that tune is absolutely sick. It took me back to the days when, you know, the era of the Prodigy where they were bringing out Firestarter and Breathe and stuff. And it's just like hard breakbeat. I really love it. So we'll have to talk more about that on the next Grace Nation meetup. But yeah, so if any of you guys are new around here, basically there is a meetup. All you have to do is join the channel's membership, which is called Grace Nation. Join on level 3, and then you get access to the Discord, and we have these monthly meetups where we all just chat about music production, etc. So if you're interested in getting involved, just click the join button below the channel. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to bounce, I'm going to have my tea, and I'm going to turn the AC on. So thanks everyone for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this one. If you did, click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon.